welcome back to the Kingdom Business Fellowship podcast. This is Alex and Ashley coming to you for a fresh, hot manna from heaven episode about riches, business, and marriage. What do you think about that?
If you don't get it right, it's all going to burn.
Yep. What we've noticed in business is a lot of people come to us in poverty. Or at least a poverty mindset if they're not in actual poverty, but most of them in actual poverty. I mean, we have a lot of people that come out of ministry and other things, and really there's just kind of a bad mindset towards money in those circles. And it's really easy to show people how to make money in the industry that we have a business in. It's insanely easy. But what we've learned is like riches in the kingdom really doesn't have much to do with money. It is a thing. And the Lord uses money. It's a tool. It's a great tool. It's a horrible master, yada, 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 all that stuff. But really, we want to teach people how to become rich in life. That is a abundant relationship with God, an abundant relationship in your marriage, finances to be able to bless everyone around you. Everyone in your sphere of influence is blessed by the money that the Lord provides to you through business. What you got?
I actually wanted to talk about the last few times that people have come to us and asked us about business and marriage and how that affects their marriage, and should they work together in business, should they not? And I think that whether you go into business being married together, or even if you're just starting a business on your own and you're married, I think the rules still apply the same way. I had a young lady ask me the other day, she's like, my husband's going to be starting a construction business, and, I'm not very good at like submitting and honoring, and, like we all fall short in that area as moms. But, she was being very transparent in the fact of like, I don't know if I can do this. And I think that it's a good place to be. Like it's a scary place to be going into business, because I've seen businesses destroy marriages, and all at the sake of, or all in the name of like, we're success, I think that, one of the things that I told her was like, you just have to set boundaries up front. You have to have expectations, because when me and you got married, we started our business like 6 months after that. That wasn't our plan. That's just what the Lord had us do. And we faced a lot of challenges. And our marriage was at stake a lot of the time. The first 2 years of our business, it was really crazy.
Yeah, you were bad. And if that woman, that young girl, had asked me that question, I would say, "Have you read your Bible, though?" Because the Bible says that the wives are supposed to submit to their husband. But I'm being funny there. It was a very difficult thing to learn how to navigate those relationships. We're a newly married couple. Even if you're not newly married, you're a married couple, and there are dynamics to a relationship that change when you have a business together, when you're running a business together. Like biblically, like Ashley's supposed to submit to me as the spiritual authority, as the head of the household, and yada, yada, yada. But when you go into business together, there's still an aspect of who's managing the business, who has the most, wisdom in that area of business. Like there are some areas that Ashley has a lot more wisdom than me, like with, administration and taxes and QuickBooks and all that stuff. So that's her area, and I submit to her in that area. But as far as the management of the business and the vision of the business and the leadership of the business, that falls on me. And like sometimes I'll ask Ashley to do things as the manager of the business, and she has to submit to that. Or I ask Ashley to do something as a business owner and not as a husband or as a friend or as a co-minister or whatever, as a brother in Christ, whatever. It was a very tumultuous time in the first couple of years of us figuring that out. It's like, when I ask you to do something as the owner of this, or as the manager of this business, you got to do it right now, and vice versa. When she asks me to do something, when it has to do to the business, it's like that everything else falls to the wayside, because you literally, first starting out with your business, you're going to have your family's lives at stake. And that's going to be a huge weight on your shoulders of, of course the Lord helps us with that burden, but like it's a heavy mandate when you're trying to run a business that provides for your family, and then you bring in other families that it's their families that are relying on the success of your business to thrive. It's a very, very weighty thing, and you have to learn to navigate that with your spouse or your co-business owner.
Yeah. What's up, everybody? So I wanted to just stop the video for just a second to offer you a really sweet deal. So if you click in the link below, we actually have a Powers Couples Mastery. It's free. It's jam-packed full of value and insight on how to not kill your marriage in business. Also, we have an amazing course coming up called the Countercultural Method. It actually talks about how to go against worldly systems and build a kingdom business. I just wanted to offer this to you right now. So the first 10 people that register actually get it free. Wait a minute. Yes, I said the first 10 people that register get it free. So click the link below and go and register, because it's also jam-packed full of value and insight, and you do not want to miss it. So also we have our poverty detox and a lot of other things. So just look in the description below of this video and you'll see everything that we have to offer. You can also head over to our website at thekingdombusinessfellowship.com, where we also have exclusive content. You don't want to miss it. Go and snag these now. Let's get back to the video. I remember the first time, well, this probably wasn't the first time, but this is where we started realizing that we were not on the same page when it came to business and prioritizing things. We were getting ready to go to this tent revival, and it's 5:00. Alex has been gone all day, working. I mean, it's heat of the summer. He comes in, I think somebody's driveway collapsed because of one of our trucks or trailers, and he's out there putting dirt down, he's doing all the things. And he comes in and I'm ready with kids. I'm ready to walk out the door. This thing starts at 6:00. We're doing this thing. And he comes in and he's like, "I need you to pay this person." And I'm like, "No, we are leaving."
You said, "I'm off the clock."
Yeah, I said, "I'm off the clock. We're leaving. We have plans. This is what we're doing." And it blew up. We just had this huge fight. And I was like, well, when you cross that threshold, when you cross that threshold, business is done. This is our home. We're trying to be in family mode. But he's just been running these things through his head and okay, I'm gonna have Ashley do this as soon as I get there. And then I reject that idea and say, no, that's not happening. And I'm trying to stand firm and be spiritual. We're going to this tent revival and I'm not doing any work. And this is our family. But it was I had to come to grips with the fact that he was right. And the fact that other people depend on our business. Other people are waiting for us to pay them. And it doesn't just stop with me. It's everybody is depending on what our business is doing. And if I just say I'm off the clock, and I think that there's reason, 9:00, if he's sending me something to pay, it's happening the next day, period. Because
unless I say otherwise. How about that?
But I think that it's 5 p.m. If you process a payment after 5 p.m., it doesn't go to the next day anyway. So it's not going to affect anything. But I think for me, I have to set boundaries as a business owner within reason to say okay, I'm going to separate business and family when it's necessary. But I do think that you do have to come to grips with the fact that whenever you have a business, it's 24/7, it's nonstop. When customers are mad at 2:00 in the morning, it comes into the home. If you are going to be doing business together, you really need to have expectations. You really need to have boundaries. Put those down and solidify them. And, things come up, things change, and you just kind of move as you grow and change things. But even if you're not doing business together, you still have to have those things in play, because the person that's in business, whether your spouse, whether it's the man having the business or the woman, there's still going to be challenges that arise where your husband or your wife isn't fully participating in the business, and you're just wrapped up in it, and your spouse has no idea what you're going through. So you really need to set boundaries, set expectations, and communicate, which is a huge one.
Yeah. The most spiritual thing that Ashley could, she was trying to be all spiritual, go to that thing, but really the most spiritual thing that she could do was honor her husband and honor a business by paying that person when I said to.
But I'm glad that happened, because we learned so much from it. We grew, we ended up going to marriage counseling because it was very hard to walk through, and it wasn't I've always been very submissive. I'm not I'm not going to submit, that's not what it was. But there was just this this motherly instinct in me that's like, the business is taking over my life. The business is coming priority before my family. And like, I was just trying to take a stand before like it got out of hand. But I think that the business wasn't taking over my family. It wasn't taking.
The business was allowing you to have way more freedoms than you ever thought possible. But also, if you're thinking of starting a business and you think that you're going to be able to come home at 5 o'clock and just turn it off, negative, zero, not going to happen. That is the weight that you take upon yourself of having to provide for yourself and all the other people that rely on your business. And like, that is a super, super weighty thing. Like, if you think, oh, I need my 8 hours. Yeah. Screw that. That's not happening. Like most nights.
I think too, like business, whenever you start a business, like the first few years, you're building community, you're building customers, you're building influence, you're building all these things. And so like, what happens when you build? Like you have to start from scratch. You have to build a foundation. You have to solidify it. It has to make sense. It has to stand firm so that whenever you get into the later years where your business is kind of running itself, that's whenever you kind of like aren't like 24/7 just thinking about the business. Yep. I think, there are times in business where it's like go, go, go. But we're kind of in a place now that it's like we're not having to go, go, go all the time. And it's more like focusing on family. But we did have to sacrifice for 2 or 3 years, family time and all of those things so that we could get to where we are now, to where we're actually able to enjoy those things.
I had so much to say. Yeah, it takes a while to define those relationships and those roles in business, period. Like, it doesn't matter if you're doing it with your wife or with anybody else, and you have to set the expectations. We were speaking with a couple 2 nights ago that they went into business with somebody else, and the expectations that were set were not met, and they're not happy about their circumstances right now. But that is the biggest things of setting the expectations. And it was kind of easily set for us in our businesses, because I actually didn't know anything about the roofing business, and I'd been doing it almost a year, so I pretty much knew how everything needed to be done. But it was just the getting those roles defined, and in a way that it was not like me trying to be overbearing to her and, oh, you need to do this, woman. But it's like, hey, like, this is what the Lord has called us to steward. And to be honest with you, man, like most, it's staggering statistics, just in our industry. It was like, how many 70% fail within the first 2 years, and then 96% fail within 5 years. And I think most small businesses have pretty staggering statistics like that, just because it's difficult and people don't set these expectations on themselves. And us being Christians and followers of Jesus, like, the Lord specifically told us to do this. I think everybody should get to a place to where, like, the Lord has told me to do this, because if you don't, like, you're going to fizzle out. You're going to burn out. Like, literally right after the Lord told us to start this business, and me and Ashley did, like, it sucked for us, like, generating, business for like the first 2 weeks. And we're sitting there like, wait, Lord, did you really say this? And it's like, well, yes, the Lord said this. He confirmed it many, many ways. So we're gonna keep at it. But you got to resolve it in your heart, man. You got to resolve it in your heart that you're not going to sin. You got to resolve it in your heart that this is what the Lord told me to do, and you just got to go after it.
I want to say something too, though, because you're hitting a lot on like the honor part, which I think is good, honor and submission on the wife's part. But I think too, husbands, if you're listening, that the husbands really have to get a place of submission in their heart and honor when it comes to their wives correcting them in business. Because this is also something that me and Alex have had to walk through. If we're in this business together, or even if we're not in it together, and you're bringing challenges or situations to me and I want to give my input, like, you have to receive what I'm saying. And there were times where Alex just was not receiving what I was saying, and the Lord flocked him. You want to tell him what the Lord said to you?
Well, the Lord took me to Proverbs, as he does with most everything in business, and in life in general. And he showed me that he who hates correction is stupid. It's a pretty strong word.
So husbands, he who hates correction is stupid. Says the Bible.
And that not only goes with your wife, but you got to have somebody in your spiritual authority or an authority in your life that you honor and respect, who has went before you and done things that you're trying to do, and bounce ideas off of them. And man, I've been flapped several times by, a man of God in our life who has the same kind of business that we do. And it's, hey man, I wouldn't get into that. Or he told us one time to not get into something, and we did it anyway, just out of happenstance because we needed to. And I was like, man, I wish I should have listened to you, man.
Yeah.
But
I think too, like going into business and having a business, whether you're married, doing it together, or just married, doing it separately, you do need to have people in your circle, really other entrepreneurs, if it's available, to speak in and kind of like see blind spots and to bounce things off of, guys, because like starting a business and going into business is not for the faint of heart. Like it's super hard. It'll take everything out of you. But if you stick with it, it can be very rewarding. But you have to have community. You have to have other people to like vent to and to say like, oh my gosh, this isn't working, or this is working, in a healthy way, so that you can grow and then not feel alone.
And I mean, you got to have a word from God. Like, you got to have a word from God, because I'm just trying to get you to stop for a second. No, but you really need to have a word from God, because most of the people that had influence in me and Ashley's life when we started this business were not for it. And we're just kind of like
people, we were in Bible school and had just gotten married whenever we started this business. And a lot of people would say like, you're forsaking the call of God on your life. Like you're chasing mammon, or you're using your evangelistic gift for the world and all of those things. And like God said, like this was something like, this was not in our plan. This was not on the agenda. Like we weren't like planning this and like thinking like we had other plans.
Yeah.
And God said like, this is.
Because honestly, I was making incredible money working for another company, and I literally could come home and turn it off. Like I didn't have nothing to worry about when I came home at night, And there's pros and cons to this thing, man. And if the Lord is in it, the pros way outweigh the cons. But if it's something in your own heart and like it's the pursuit of money or the pursuit of whatever, like the cons are going to vastly outweigh the pros. Like especially in your marriage.
The challenges. And it's interesting, like people that we have known in the industry that almost kind of went against us, like putting a cross in our logo and putting Jesus on our trucks. And then, they're professing Christians and, they're like on Facebook, like their marriages look successful, their business looks successful and all the things. And it's like, when we just started, like we're looking to them as like the role model. We're looking at them as like, this is the standard. But now I think that there came a place where we started to realize that God had us on a different path, and he was creating like a different culture and a different business model, the counterculture business model. But it's like now, like those people aren't even married because success destroyed their marriages because God wasn't at the center. It's like you can do a lot of things without God in the name of success and it fail. But that's not what we wanted. We wanted, like Alex would say all the time when we'd get in fights, like, I'll let this business crash and burn if our marriage is at stake. And I think that that's what you have to like go into this thinking is like, if your marriage is at stake, the business gets put on the back burner, period. Like the business takes precedence in some areas, but when it comes to your marriage, God brought this marriage together. Marriage is covenant with God. Like businesses come and go, like marriage is at the forefront. And if your marriage is ever at stake for the sake of the business, you've done it wrong.
And you've really got to define what success is to you, because when the Lord called me and Ashley to start this business, what success looked like to us was just paying our bills and being able to do more ministry, like more freedom to do ministry and be able to pay our bills. And most everybody, that's what success looks like, is like just being able to pay your bills, having a little money in the bank to maybe do some extracurricular activities. But like success was never money to us. Like it still isn't. Success today for us is influence for the kingdom of God, influence for Jesus. And you have to have money to have influence in certain circles, or you have to have some measure of success to have influence in certain circles. So like that's what it's about for us, is more influence. And if more influence means us making more money or having a bigger team or having a bigger company or whatever, we've also seen that the Lord will bring that same influence with a smaller team, with a smaller company, it doesn't really matter, but you got to define what success looks like in your life. And success to me and Ashley is a healthy marriage, a healthy household, serving the Lord, no sin up in our house, no sin up in any relationships that are close to us, everybody's marriage that is close to us thriving. That's what our measure of success is now. And if you have it in your heart that success is making a lot of money and it's not about giving a lot of money away, then you missed it and you're probably going to crash and burn.
So overall, if you're in business or thinking about starting a business and you are married or you plan to get married, just know that you really have to put things on paper. You really have to put boundaries in place, set expectations so that your marriage doesn't die at the sake of your business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or your relationship with God.
Yeah.
Most importantly, I mean, golly, you might go to hell for the sake of business. I mean, if you're not careful. You can. There's many things that are the devil's traps in business and success. It's greed, idolatry, pride. There's so many extra pitfalls you're adding to your table or adding to the devil's arsenal by going into business for yourself. But you just got to resolve your heart. Hey, I ain't going. I'm going for Jesus. Jesus told me to do this. Whatever. Hallelujah.
Yeah. My marriage came before the business. Even if it came after the business, God has called you guys together in covenant. Covenant outweighs any business decision, any business contract, any business partnership. Marriage comes first. Here.
I love you.
I love you too. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Give it a share. Would you be willing to subscribe to our channel? It really helps us out a lot. Also,
we forgot to tell people to put stuff in the comments at the first of the video. Oh my gosh, man.
If you stay to the end of the video, we have an exclusive offer. So I'm glad you're here. So we actually have a counterculture method course coming up where it talks about running a counterculture business, going against the worldly systems. And we have an offer for the first 10 people that sign up actually get the course for free. So I'll have the link in the description for the course. You can sign up for the wait list. Again, the first 10 people that sign up get it for free.
Are there any parameters of
it's a limited time offer, guys.
Are there any parameters for you have to have a business, you have to have
no, there's no parameters. I mean, it's geared toward entrepreneurs, people that have businesses, but I mean, it's for people that want to start a business too.
Okay.
But the counterculture method, guys, we talk a lot about this and how we, formed our business to go against worldly systems. And it's a really good tool, a really good resource. So go grab it. The first 10 people get it for free and join the wait list. And the link is in the description. So thank you for tuning in and we'll see you next time. Bye.